This is definitely a part of the book that we have been waiting to read. This is chapter 3, part 2 of Lisa Rinna's You Better Believe I'm going to talk about it. And this is a good and messy part, you guys. This is where she talks about Garcelle and Sutton and Denise Richards and LVP, Puppygate. She gets into the Adrian Malouf and Brandy of it all. So this is a very messy, messy part. Some of the other parts, Lisa got a little deep, but this part is just plain old mess. It's plain old mess. If y'all into that, go ahead and watch the video. I'm going to read it. I did give my 2 cents a little bit throughout. I know some of y'all don't like that, but you guys are welcome to give your 2 cents. Either way, it does not matter. This is a book club. We're going to talk a little bit, okay? That just is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, y'all go ahead and watch the video, like the video, give me some comments, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out when I upload part 3 of this chapter and the next chapter. It is just getting better and better by the chapter. Lisa Rinna, you got us all talking about it. Here we go. Everyone's always jockeying to be the next queen of the franchise, and it's a blood sport. We all start out as pawns, and before you know it, you're piloting the plane. If you watch closely, you can see it in real time. It's not happening every second, and one time I even sat back for a whole season after my dad died. I remember one time Dorit and Teddy were fighting, and I just watched them like an audience member with popcorn. I was having a ball because it wasn't about me, and they were doing the work while I just sat there with a Cheshire cat grin on my face. I knew that was the only time I would get one free pass, though. The producers gave me one season to recover. Then it was, "All right, get your sweet ass back on board here. Don't think you can show up. Don't think you can't show up, Rinna." The longer you're on the show, the more conscious you are of trying to attain queen bee status. The queen bee gets to hold the diamond front and center in the title card. Kyle always got that spot, which was understood and was not up for negotiation. If you had a good season, you might get to stand next to her, but it was always Kyle. She was steering the ship because she's been there the longest. She was a good leader and she knew how to run the show. While I have always been a good ensemble player, I was very good driver of the plot. For example, sometimes you find yourself sitting at a restaurant picking at the bread basket for 3 hours because everyone was beating around the bush and no one was willing to stick their necks out or be the lamb for the slaughter. Eileen and I were the ones who would blurt out, "Oh, for God's sakes, just say it so we can go home." Eileen knew her goal at every moment and would cut to the chase within 5 minutes. We barely have our drinks ordered and she'd say, "So did you smoke pot last night?" Or whatever it was the producers wanted us to bring up. "Eileen," we'd all shriek. But then we get home quicker. LVP always wanted to be on top. But after Puppygate, she knew she was demoted. She couldn't stand that. But at the time, refused to take accountability. Instead, she doubled down and would never, ever, ever admit she was wrong. The same thing happened with Denise Richards, Kathy Hilton, too. All those women are cut from the same cloth. Once we really called LVP out, the whole cast pretty much turned on her. And she ran. Halfway through the season, she disappeared and she never filmed the show again. She didn't even show up for the reunion, which is a big no-no. LVP was the biggest coward we've ever had on that show. Everybody else would go head to head. Kim Richards went head to head with me. Kathy Hilton went head to head with me. They didn't run. Sister, that's how we get paid the big bucks. To sit there and take it. It is easier not to confront people. Absolutely. But that's what we're hired to do. The job is about being messy. LVP was a sniper from the side who turned into a coward. So we took her crown away. Her famous saying was, "The crown is heavy, darling." And my comeback was always, It's not so heavy. LVP was not the only person I had a history with before Housewives. I was friends with everybody until I wasn't. I had acquaintances type relationships with Denise, Kim, and Sutton. I know all of them for many years. Beverly Hills is a small place with a few key players. All were women who I liked very much, and they would say the same about me. But after I got on the show, I ended up being enemies with all three of those women. The irony is, I'm the one who got Denise and Sutton on RHOBH. They both came to me and begged to be on the show, and I bent over backwards to help them. I knew that Sutton would be a good housewife because she's super rich and wacky, so I told producers to take a look at her. Sutton's clever, but she's a different kind of crazy. She's the kind of kooky audiences like to watch. So I had a hunch she'd be good for the show. Even though we ended up on the outs, I think fans rooted for her because of her goofy attitude and that thick Southern accent. Denise's first season was uneventful, but she came into the second season on the rampage. I noticed right away she wasn't being buddy buddy with me. Maybe she knew she didn't make much of an impression on her first season. Maybe producers told her she needed to step it up. Who knows? But that's when she came at Garcelle, Erica, Kyle, Dorit, and me at her backyard barbecue, saying we were talking about threesomes in front of her kids. She'll never cop to this, but Denise came in with an agenda, and it pissed me off. I thought it was shady. I got a lot of grief from Denise because I wasn't there for her. Maybe I wasn't, but I'm only going to be there for you if you're a good person and you're there for me too. I realized my relationship with Denise was superficial and there was no there. When I turned on her after the barbecue fiasco, she gaslit me to no end. Later that season, when Brandy revealed that she and Denise bumped rugs and giggled, all hell broke loose. Denise denied it. Remember way back, I said Brandy was complaining that the show was getting a little stale and they were desperate for some red meat. Sometimes our fellow housewives like to get brownie points with our producers by secretly narking on one another. In the case of the Brandy and Denise situation, someone went to our producer, Chris Cullen, and set the bait about their alleged hookup. Kim and Brandy had been close in previous seasons, but were estranged at the time. There was another element to it, which was that the show was stagnant. The producers were dying because we had nothing going on. We had no story. We're about to go to Rome, and that is the tidbit that was dropped like a turd in a punch bowl right before we left. I'll never forget. They wanted me and Kyle to be the ones to bring it up by confronting Brandy with the rumor, and I said, no fucking way. I'm not doing it. So they had Teddy and Kyle do it. My hands were already dirty as far as Denise was concerned. Can you imagine if I did it? It would have been horrific. Pre Housewives, there were two more ladies who I also saw out and about in social circles and pecked on both cheeks. Then I got closer to them on the show and discovered they were as phony as our air kisses. First was Garcelle, who had been friends with Harry and me for years. She came to all of our parties, and I went to all of her parties. She's another one who came into the show with an agenda. We mixed like oil and water, and she was firmly on Denise's side. Once people take sides, that's that. The second was Camille Grammer. I really liked her mom. She was lovely. So I know there's a better person deep down in there. But Camille's biggest problem is that she went down the wrong road and made bad decisions. She could have been a good person on the show, but she just couldn't help herself. It was more comfortable for her to be a mean girl than to be a good person. I don't know how to express it better than that. In season 10, Camille came back for a cameo and showed up at one of Kyle's parties. She had gone after me in a Twitter post calling me trash and the girls a coven of witches. When I saw Camille there, I marched straight up to her and sniped, "You were an asshole to me on Twitter. I didn't like that." That line went viral everywhere and it was hilarious. But now that I'm off the show, it's been easy to forgive everyone. I saw Camille recently at a party and went up to hug her. She looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. And I said, "Camille, we did our job. And you know what? You did a really good fucking job." I was always called a bad friend because I didn't support these newbies when they first came on the show. But it was because I found out they were bad dudes. They put on a good show, but on a fundamental level, we just did not vibe at all. It's fascinating to me that the Virgo-ish ladies have all bonded together and have a love fest now. That's the most honest thing any of them have ever done because they all belong together. Peas in a pod. From Billie Eilish's lips, from Billie Eilish's lips to God's ears, birds of a feather stick together. You attract who you are. Everything was fine when the mostly Virgo gang were merely social acquaintances because I rarely saw them. But working with them every single day is when the issue started. If I hadn't been on the show, I'd be good with all those girls on a superficial level. Let's not get it twisted that there was anything deep going on with any of them. They all serve their purpose. Toxic workplaces are not exclusive to Bravo celebrities. The show is a microcosm of real life. It doesn't matter if you don't want to have anything to do with your catty coworkers. If you take the paycheck, you have to work together. I think that's why our show resonates with so many people. We're all forced to be around and deal with people we normally wouldn't every day. A lot of people are more comfortable in conflict because it's the only thing they know. According to research conducted by Rinna University, women tend to create drama, often subconsciously, in situations with other women because it feels normal. Because from a young age, girls are taught to be in competition with one another. And I admit, we fed into it because it gives us adrenaline and something to gossip about. That's the whole basis of this show. I still think it's super fucked up, even if I played a part in it. It's funny because in most industries, women of a certain age are kind of ignored or pushed out for the younger generation. But the Housewives franchise is not stocked with spring chickens. The reason the show works so well is because the women are aging out. They're in the midst of midlife crisis. Their faces and boobs are drooping, their hormones are wackadoodle, and they have a lot of lived experience. They've played the role of mom and wife for years, and they're desperate to keep the facade of a perfect life going. Whether that's about aging or feeling less desirable as women, it causes them to be out for themselves in so many ways. Social standing is the one thing they can't control, and they cling to it for dear life. And before you call me out, I'm admitting this as a former housewife myself. That desperation brings out people's true colors. By the way, all those women are full blown narcissists. I'm talking Garcelle, Sutton, and Denise. That's just coming from my experience. They play the victim, and I can't tolerate that. I do not believe in victim mentality. I call myself the narcissist hunter of Beverly Hills because I'm really good at sussing them out. They didn't like that so much. Once I see what I'm dealing with, I go right after them. It's very hard to tangle with a narcissist. You almost can't. But every once in a while, I would prick them just enough to get under their skin. It really isn't that hard to figure out when people are lying. Just pay attention and look at their body language, especially if you've been with somebody and they've told you what they've done. And then they lie in front of your face to the group. Maybe it's easier for me as an actor because I've studied humanity. When I come across a lying narcissist, my gut tells me they're not being honest and authentic. And if I call them out on it, they'll lie about it some more. They'll lie to cover their lies. The audacity is astounding. Okay, side note, y'all. Side note. So, one of the worst things you can do to a narcissist, or not one of the worst things, but one of the things that ticks them off the most and gets under their skin the most is figuring them out and calling them out on it because their whole life is a facade. Their whole image is a facade. So when you don't fall for that facade, it makes them nervous, okay? Now, I'm not saying that I believe that any of these women that she's saying are narcissists. I'm just saying that's a side note about a real narcissist. So if they were, then they would definitely be bothered that she has them figured out. Okay, here we go. I would not trust these people as far as I could throw them, yet my reputation was in their hands. There were unspoken rules amongst the ladies about lines not to cross. Stuff about our personal lives that was absolutely off limits and that we would agree wouldn't be brought up on the show. Remember season 3 when Brandy shared a huge secret about Adrienne Maloof that caused her to leave the show? I wasn't part of the cast then, but it was something about Adrienne's family that the cast agreed never to bring up until Brandy did. We all had stuff like that we wanted to keep off the show and had to trust one another that we'd all honor that. Some might actually say aloud, "Please, I can't go here." And I would respect that because at the end of the day, I didn't want to ruin someone's life or destroy a family or make anyone suffer. There were times I looked the other way or didn't go there. Then again, I have morals. Other people would cross those boundaries without batting an eye. So that's it for chapter 3, part 2 of Lisa Rinna's You Better Believe I'm going to talk about it. Let me know what you guys thought about this part of the book in the comment section. Do you guys believe that the people she said are narcissists are narcissists? Are you guys surprised about the behind the scenes tea that she revealed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out when I upload the next part. I'll see you guys back here in this suite. Until next time, from my suite to your screens. Peace out, beautiful people.